All right, what's going on, everybody? KSA Kris here, the Real Estate Blitz. I got something in on Instagram. It's actually two parts, two questions, so I'm going to answer both questions. This is for Lee. So, Lee, here's your questions. Um, do you do you do circle prospecting around homes you have listed or sold, or just general cold calling? So far, I've been mostly calling for sell by owners, cancels, and Z buyer lists in my area. Okay, so circle dialing or circle prospecting, whatever you want to call it, is cold calling. But what you're doing is you're picking a specific area that ideally somebody has already seen you, or they've seen your brand and they've heard of you. And I talk about this in general with every listing that we get. We want to touch at a minimum 10 to the left, 10 to the right, 20 across the street. So you have 40 people that you're always contacting. You get their addresses, you get their phone numbers if you can. There are ways to get those phone numbers. We start a campaign. We keep that campaign going forever through the duration of not only the sale of the home, but of course after the sale of the home, because you never know if somebody else in the neighborhood wants to potentially sell in the future. Now, the other option is that we just circle dial if we're doing open houses. So let's say we have an open house and we want to circle dial. We'll circle dial 100, 200 homes around that house. And actually, in circle dialing or circle prospecting is cold calling. You're basically calling up saying, hey, by the way, I have a open house this Saturday at 113 Venture Court. Want to see if you're going to be available. Love to have you come over since you live in the neighborhood. That's one option. You could also just go in for the hard close, say, hey, I'm looking to see if your inventory is low. Are you looking to potentially sell? I mean, there's just a ton of different ways that you can go about it. But yes, we're going to circle dial, circle prospect around all of our listeds, all of our just solds, and all of our open houses, even if it's not a house that we particularly have listed. So, and that's leading up to an open house. As far as for sale by owners and Z buyer, I've done previous videos on those, so I'm not going to go into that. Now, his second part of the question was open house tip. He's looking for an open house tip. It's his very first open house. He's doing it for another agent. He says the average price in that market is just over 200K. The house just got reduced to 399, so it's probably overpriced. Been on the market about a month, had two price drops and is vacant. Okay, so it's been on the market for 30 days. So for one, the first question I typically would ask Lee is, well, what's the average days on market? So in my market, the average sale price is 675-ish. Days on market are roughly 60 to 90 days. Sometimes longer depending on the area. So if the days on market dictate that it should have been sold in a week, then yes, it's heavily freaking overpriced, but whatever. It's had two price drops within a month. Obviously, I'm more concerned with getting buyers in general. Okay. I would be concerned personally with holding an open house on a property that is overpriced, but it might be a waste of energy, my opinion. There's an ad in the paper this week that this subdivision has like 6 open houses and list them. I'm posting on Facebook that I'm having an open house and having a draw for $250 to the local furniture store. Winner has to sign an exclusive agency with me and get the card at closing. Any other ideas or tips? Okay. Where to start on this one? Okay, open houses. To me, open houses are a process. If you don't have your own listing, you're looking for somebody else's listing. I'm looking for properties that are going to bring me a lot of foot traffic because, again, you're trying to farm buyers. If you're trying to farm buyers, going to a house that's overpriced, even if it's a neighborhood that's going to have 6 other open houses, if you have the house that nobody freaking wants because it doesn't make sense, probably not the house that's going to get a lot of foot traffic, just my opinion. It could be an opportunity for you to get your face out there if you have 30 signs and you put the signs out. And that's another reason why we do open houses. We put 15 to 30 signs out for every open house. If we swarm neighborhoods as a group, so that way they see our signage everywhere. So we circle prospect, circle dial, which I talked about earlier. We door knock 10-10-20. We'll do direct mail 10-10-20. Usually handwritten letters to the neighbors to let them know, along with information flyer on the property. And when it comes to marketing it, the biggest marketing thing that we've done, it's going to sound goofy. Whoever has the listing, you ask them to post it up as an open house in the MLS to make sure that it gets done. And we make sure that this is done no later than a Wednesday. The reason why is that's going to propagate. It takes about 24 hours, sometimes at the most, to propagate to Zillow and Trulia. And it'll actually go out on Zillow and Trulia as an open house for the coming weekend. We get a huge freaking return from that. That's something that we deeply believe in. We do all the time. You can definitely put it on Facebook. What we've seen with Facebook returns, is pretty low, but what we end up doing is we actually do spotlights on the property so we can actually do lead capture off of our sync platform. So it's something a little bit different that we do. I don't see the point in marketing something for a potential open house unless you really have your shit dialed in, just my opinion. But it is what it is. Now, as far as the gift card, Lee, I think gift cards are a great idea for a lot of agents. I just think they're not as creative as you could be. When it comes to like, if you do this and you get in this drawing, you'll get a Starbucks gift card. It's just, to me, I don't do them because most agents come off as hokey hacks. And if this is a business, what I do and how I communicate with people and my communication and actually building rapport from the moment that they walk in and gathering their information, I would rather do that than try to throw some cheap offer at them. Or a gimmick. It's really a gimmick. It's almost like, dudes that wear really goofy hats to nightclubs. It's like, oh yeah, I'll get chicks. Maybe, but is it? That's not the woman I'm looking for. And usually the woman I'm looking for, who I ended up marrying, she wasn't in a nightclub. But each to his own. I'm not a fan of gimmicks. I'm a fan of belly, face to face communication and building rapport, and then people will gladly give you their information, and you can save yourself like $250. Exclusive agent agreements on the buy side. If you haven't seen some of my previous videos, I am not a fan because it goes against everything that I just said a second ago. If you are unable to build rapport with somebody and connect with somebody, and they don't like you and they don't want to work with you, and you tie them into a contract which is worth literally nothing, it means nothing if they decide that they want to work with somebody else, but whatever. To me, I just think, it means you're a crappy agent. That's just my opinion. I had an agent in our brokerage the other day come to me and talk to me about that. Yeah, I want to do this. And I says, well, let's talk about that. Why? Well, I could get screwed. Okay. Have you ever been screwed? Well, no. So you've never been screwed. Okay. So nobody's ever just jumped ship on you. Or if I run into somebody that says, how many deals have you closed? Okay. So you've closed that many deals. So this one person out of all the deals that you closed screwed you. Let's talk about that person real quick. A majority of the time, what's going to happen is it's going to be somebody that there's something wrong with them to begin with anyways. They're emotionally weird, and you probably shouldn't work with them to begin with. And then we force ourselves because we need the money, and it's a really horrible transaction. No matter if you lock them in or don't lock them in, they're going to make sure that they go out of their way to tell everybody they know that you suck. I cut people if I feel like it's going to be at that point. I just get rid of them. If they think if they're going to tell everybody I suck and there's nothing I can do to make them think I don't suck, I just get rid of them. That's my opinion. But each to his own. Lee, I hope I helped. I'm going to let you know on Instagram that I created this video. I'm going to post this up literally right now, and hopefully it helps you out. All right, have a good one. Bye.